On November 24, 1971, a quiet man boarded a plane in the United States.
He wore a black suit, dark sunglasses, and carried a small briefcase. Nobody noticed anything unusual about him, but before that flight ended, he would commit the most famous hijacking in aviation history. He demanded $200,000 for parachutes and then jumped out of the plane at 10,000 feet in the middle of a stormy night. And the strangest part,
he was never seen again.
This is the unbelievable story of the mysterious man known as D.B.N. Cooper. The story begins at an airport in Portland, Oregon. It was the afternoon before Thanksgiving, one of the busiest travel days in the United States.
A man walked to the ticket counter and bought a one-way ticket for $20.
The flight was Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, traveling to Seattle, Washington. On the ticket, he wrote the name, Dan Cooper. Witnesses later described him as being around 40 to 50 years old, about 6 feet tall, and calm, polite, and well-spoken. He wore a black business suit, a white shirt, a thin black tie, and dark sunglasses.
He looked just like an ordinary businessman.
But hidden inside his briefcase was something that would soon terrify everyone on the flight. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper ordered a drink, bourbon and soda.
Then he called over a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. He quietly handed her a folded piece of paper. At first, she assumed it was just a passenger giving her his phone number, so she slipped the note into her pocket without even looking at it. Cooper then leaned toward her and calmly said, "Miss, you better look at that note.
I have a bond." Her heart started racing.
When she opened the note, she read his demands: $200,000 in cash, for parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. To prove he wasn't bluffing, Cooper slowly opened his briefcase.
Inside were red cylinders connected with wires and a battery.
It looked exactly like a bomb.
The flight attendant quickly informed the cockpit. The pilots then contacted authorities on the ground. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and local police were immediately involved.
The authorities faced a difficult choice. They could try to stop Cooper or risk the lives of everyone on board. They decided to agree to his demands. Meanwhile, the plane circled the skies above Seattle for nearly 2 hours while the money and parachutes were prepared on the ground. During that time, something strange happened. Cooper remained completely calm. He smoked cigarettes, drank his bourbon, and even spoke politely with the flight attendants. He didn't seem nervous or desperate.
It was almost as if he had planned everything perfectly.
Finally, at 5:39 p.m.,
militaries. The plane landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport.
Airport workers brought Cooper exactly what he had asked for: a bag containing $200,000 and 4 parachutes.
Once he confirmed the money was there, Cooper allowed all 36 passengers to leave the plane safely. Now, only 4 crew members remained on board.
At this point, many investigators believed Cooper would surrender.
But instead, he ordered the plane to take off again.
Cooper gave the pilots very specific instructions.
He told them to fly toward Mexico City, but at a very unusual altitude and speed.
He wanted the plane to fly at 10,000 feet, around 200 miles per hour, and with the landing gear partially down.
The aircraft was a Boeing 727, one of the only planes in the world with a rear staircase that could be opened during flight. Around 8 p.m.,
militaries, somewhere above the dense forests of Washington, Cooper told the flight attendant to go into the cockpit and close the door. A few minutes later, a warning light appeared.
The rear stairs had been lowered.
Suddenly, the plane shook slightly, as if something heavy had just left it.
Somewhere in the darkness, D.B.N.
Cooper jumped out of the plane with $200,000. Authorities launched one of the biggest investigations in FBI history.
The operation was codenamed Hijacked, short for Northwest Hijacking. Agents searched hundreds of square miles of forests in Washington.
But they found nothing.
No parachute, no body, no equipment, and no Cooper.
The FBI had recorded the serial numbers of all the ransom money and sent them to banks and businesses across the country.
For years, investigators followed thousands of leads.
None of them solved the mystery. Then, something completely unexpected happened. In 1980, nearly 9 years after the hijacking, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was digging in the sand along the Columbia River. Suddenly, he uncovered bundles of rotting cash. When investigators checked the serial numbers, they discovered it was part of Cooper's ransom money. The total amount found was $5,800, but the remaining $194,200 has never been found. So, did D.B.N. Cooper survive the jump? Some experts believe it would have been nearly impossible. It was a freezing cold night, dark, and the terrain below was a dense, unforgiving wilderness.
But others believe Cooper may have been an experienced parachutist or a military veteran who knew exactly what he was doing. In 2016, after decades of searching, the FBI officially closed the case. The man known as D.B.N.
Cooper remains the only hijacker in U.S.N. history who was never caught, and somewhere out there, the truth may still be waiting to be discovered.
What do you think?
Did D.B.N. Cooper survive the jump, or did he die in the wilderness? Let me know your theory in the comments below.
And if you enjoy real unsolved mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe for more stories that history still can't explain. Thanks for watching.